What gets measured gets managed. Let's figure out what our conversion rate is now, figure out a way to track it. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here, the founder of Guest Focused Tour Business Coaching, where every day myself and our team of experienced tour business mentors are helping you build a thriving, profitable tour business. In this video, the 5 reports that every tour business owner should run before next season. Let's dive in. Let's start with a question, and it may not be an easy one. Do you actually know where your bookings are coming from? And I don't mean vaguely, I mean specifically. Do you know which tours are making you money? Do you know which marketing channels are driving bookings? Do you know what your actual profit margin is on a product level? Many tour business owners can't answer these and a handful of other really important questions. So today I'll quickly walk you through the 5 reports that every tour operator should be running in the off season. These aren't complicated, but it's going to tell you exactly what's working, what's not, and where you might want to focus your energy in the months ahead. One more thing before we get into the reports. There's a difference between running tours and running a tour business. If you're just running tours, activities, experiences, we show up, we deliver a great experience, and we go home. But if you were running a business, you need to know your numbers. We can't grow what we don't measure. Think about it. If you don't know which tour is your most profitable, how do you decide where to invest your marketing budget? And if you don't know which booking source drives the most revenue, how do you know where to double down? These decisions have real-world consequences, and these reports become your annual performance review, not for your guides, but for your entire business. They're going to show you what worked, what didn't, what needs to change, and most operators don't take the time to look at this stuff in detail. And that's why so many folks work harder every year, but don't see their income grow. Report number 1 is bookings by product. This number shows you which tours, products, offers are actually selling. Not which tours we think are selling, but which ones are actually booking. Most booking software tools that we use on the day tour side of things, whether that's FareHarbor, Rezdy, Bokun, Ventrada, Palacis, the list goes on and on, almost all of them will have this ability to run a report by product and to see the number of bookings for each. This is a really compelling reason to move away from some of the more generic e-commerce options that are out there like WooCommerce and get one that's dedicated to tours, activities, experiences, because we're going to be able to slice and dice this data in a way that's meaningful to you as a tour business owner. So you want to create this report for a full season or a full year and sort by number of bookings or total revenue. You're looking here for the 80-20 rule in action. Usually about 20% of your tours actually generate the bulk of your revenue. These are our workhorses. These are the tours, activities, and experiences we should be optimizing, marketing, and perfecting. Then you're gonna see those tours that are at the bottom of the list, the ones that barely got booked. Maybe we only ran them a handful of times all year, or maybe they didn't even book at all. So here's what we can do with that information. Either cut these low performers entirely or figure out why they're not selling and then fix it. Maybe the sales pages are weak, or maybe our marketing messaging was off. Maybe the pricing wasn't quite right, but we don't keep them on our roster just out of habit or just because they were there last year. Your top performers deserve more of your attention. Your bottom tours need to justify their existence. I remember a colleague of mine years ago was talking about his VW van tours in the Bay Area, and running out to the wine region was what most of his vehicles were doing, but he had put together this amazing oyster shucking experience and he absolutely loved it. It was his favorite tour. He was really tired of running after years and years, the same old sort of VW van tours out to the wine region. At the end of the day, he ran his report using his booking software, and he saw that not only were those wine tours selling more, meaning that each VW van that went out, they were typically more full than that oyster tour, but they were also substantially more profitable because of the higher costs associated with the oyster experience. At the end of the day, he wanted to increase his take-home pay. He wanted his business to be more profitable, and he ended up cutting that oyster tour. And because of that decision, he was able to substantially increase his profit in the coming year. The second report to run is bookings by source. Here's why this matters. Every channel has a different cost. Direct bookings, yes, we're keeping most of our money, but we have to balance that with a marketing budget. OTA bookings, we all know we're paying anywhere between 25, 30% or more in commissions. Pull this report and look at those percentages. If 80% of your bookings are coming through a single channel, we have a problem. You're basically renting your customer list from someone else and paying for the privilege. We're also incredibly vulnerable to changes to things like AI algorithms that aren't even necessarily the fault of an OTA like Viator or a search engine like Google or Bing. If you are overly reliant on one channel, you are simply not as resilient a business. Our goal is to have a healthy mix, and this report will help you get there. Or put another way, this report can tell you where to invest. If your direct bookings are low, we may need to increase our marketing spend or lift our conversion rate through work on our website, our SEO, or email marketing. If we're looking to grow our indirect channels and we see that one product on one particular OTA is really crushing it, maybe we should lean into offering that same tour activity experience on some other OTA platforms. Report number 3 is average order value. This tells you how much the average customer spends per booking. And more importantly, it shows you whether your upsells, cross-sells, and some of your packages are actually working. Growing your average order value is hugely valuable to you as a business because you already spent the money to acquire that customer, either through your own direct marketing efforts or paying commission to a reseller. Bottom line, they're your customer now. And if we can increase the amount of money that they're spending, that is a lot cheaper than going out and getting a new customer. You might be in a position where you don't have any upsells at all. Well, Trip Protection is one of the easiest upsells to add. Tests run by booking software companies recommend charging anywhere between 10 and 15% of the ticket price for a more generous cancellation policy, like free cancellation up to 1 hour before. If you haven't played around with Trip Protection, this is a great chance to implement it and track the impact on your average order value. Essentially, this type of report is going to show you progress on this important task, which is to increase that average order value. So yes, we'll do it with some creative upsells. And if we don't have upsells on a tour, what could we add to your tour activity experience that can be added with a single click during that checkout price? Or perhaps they can be offered it when they arrive on site. Secondly, as we're thinking about the upsell process, we have a number of points in our checkout experience or in the time between the booking and when somebody arrives where we could invite them to book another tour, where we can give them a special discount. The details don't matter so much here as running the report to see the impact on those initiatives. So let's say you want to focus on your booking software like Zola. We go into the Zola checkout and we add an additional step where we have this one-time offer to get a 15 or 20% discount off of a complimentary tour. Now we can run that and check this report to see how impactful that has been or what percentage of people are opting in for that upsell. Same sort of thing with maybe an email marketing or an SMS marketing campaign. After someone gets a booking, maybe we have a week or more where we can be messaging or emailing them to invite them with that same sort of discount. Those are two different approaches, but the results will both show up in this particular report. This is the type of optimization in your business that will make it more profitable, not just over the next month or 2 months or season, but year after year. This stuff really compounds. Report number 4 is your conversion rate. This is the percentage of people who ultimately make a booking on your website versus the total number of visitors who are passing through. We are typically tracking this metric through a combination of Google Analytics with goals set up in combination with some information from our booking software. Industry research shows that the conversion rates for travel websites typically range from anywhere in the low end to 0.2% all the way up to 5 or 6%. If you're above 2% conversion rate on your total traffic, you're probably in that top 20%. But if you're between 4, 5, or 6%, you're making your way towards the top of the heap. Many of our guest focus coaches are able to hit 5% or more on all traffic to their website, which is exceptional, but you can get there too. But here's a simple benchmark. If your conversion rate is under 2%, your website and sales page need work, period. If you're sitting there now and you're like, well, I don't even know what my conversion rate is right now. I don't even know how to set that up. Well, then we've got our first project. What gets measured gets managed. So if we don't have that set up, we've got our project for the off season. All right, let's figure out what our conversion rate is now, figure out a way to track it, and we'll take our first benchmark. Our goal is to ultimately beat that benchmark after we take 1 or 2 initiatives. But we got to start with the benchmark. Your website conversion rate is one of the most important numbers in your business. Track it, test it, improve it. Report number 5, and this is a biggie: profit margin by product. As you know, revenue is not profit. We all need to hear that again sometimes, that revenue is not profit. We can have a tour that brings in $10,000, $20,000, maybe even $1 million a year. But after we've taken into account all the costs, if it is just breaking even, then we are not profitable. We might be working 2 times or 3 times as hard, but we are not making any more profit. And that's where this report helps shine a light on some of those blind spots in our business. Now, most of the time, your booking platform won't necessarily calculate this for you directly. We're gonna have to do some manual work here, but 100% it is worth it. After you get the total revenue, total sales figures from your booking software, then we need to start layering in all of the costs associated with any given product over the course of the whole year. Of course, all those fixed and variable costs like guide pay, our time, cost of goods sold, etc., and etc. What you will definitely find is that you have certain products that are more profitable than others. You're likely to find others that are barely breaking even. These are the tours that either need to get repriced, restructured, or cut. Put another way, we want to make sure that we're using all of the resources at our disposal, from the vehicles to our guides, to generate the most amount of profit that we can. If that equipment, that guide, or that vehicle can be used in one way that generates $2,000 of profit for a day, but those same resources could be put to use and earn $5,000 in profit for that same usage, well, you now have some incredibly actionable data to help make your tour business more profitable. So these 5 reports are going to help you build a roadmap for the off season. And it's natural to run these reports on an annual basis. But here's the thing, when we are coaching folks, we're often encouraging them to actually run these reports more than once a year. If you're just getting started with that thought, maybe quarterly is all we need. Maybe eventually you get to a point where you're running these monthly and setting aside a little bit of time to go through and see what sort of progress we are making on these numbers. We're looking for trends in these reports. And if our only data points are every year, it's very difficult to adjust your strategy, adjust your policies, adjust your decisions over the course of any given year. So the 5 reports you should be running right here in your off season: 1, bookings by product; 2, bookings by source; 3, average order value; 4, conversion rate; and 5, profit margin by product. These reports will tell you more about your business in 2 hours than you'll learn from an entire year of guesswork. But you know what the real game changer sometimes is that once you have those numbers, is that you sit down with an experienced tour activity business coach or a mentor or someone who's got a lot of experience running tour and activity businesses. And what they see in your numbers can be a lot different what you see in those exact same numbers. That's what we here at Guest Focus do. And right now, between October and December of any given year, we have a very limited number of mentors with a very limited number of spots. This is a great way to get out of that state of overwhelm or reduce that to-do list that has 1,000 things on it to a list of focused priorities based on your numbers of what to do to make your next year better than ever. Like I said, our calendar fills up fast, so go to guestfocus.com/check-in, all one word, to see if there's any slots left. Thank you so much for being here. If you got some value from this video, like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.